The leather seat in 2A felt like a throne to 13-year-old Amara Tate. Her legs dangled just above the floor, her sneakers barely grazing the carpet of the first-class cabin. She traced the polished armrest with her finger, her heart buzzing with a mix of nerves and pride. Outside the window, the Portland runway stretched wide, a path to her adventure. This wasn't just any flight. It was her first time in first class, a gift from her dad, Marcus Tate, to celebrate her finishing a 2-week STEM camp at Oregon State. She'd been the only black girl there, and the youngest too. Last night, on a video call, Marcus's grin had lit up the screen. "Fly like you're somebody," he'd said, "because you are." Amara reached into her tote bag, pulling out her copy of Octavia Butler's Kindred. She flipped to her bookmarked page, ready to lose herself in the story during the flight to New York. But before she could settle in, a shadow fell over her. A flight attendant, badge-reading Karen, stood in the aisle, her blonde hair tucked neatly behind her ears. She glanced at her tablet, then at Amara. "Hi, sweetie," Karen said, her voice sharp. "There's a seating issue. I need you to move." Amara blinked, clutching her boarding pass. "Move? But this is my seat." She held up the pass, her voice small but steady. Karen's smile tightened. "We have a preferred guest who needs this seat. I'll find you a spot in the back. It'll be quick." Amara's cheeks burned. "I didn't do anything wrong," she said, her eyes searching Karen's face. "I understand," Karen replied, her tone clipped. "But we have to make adjustments sometimes. Grab your things, okay?" Heads turned. The man in 2B shifted uncomfortably. A woman across the aisle frowned, but stayed silent. Amara felt their stares like weights. She stuffed her book in her bag, stood, and followed Karen down the aisle to 34C, a cramped middle seat between a guy in a football jersey and an older woman in scrubs. The air smelled of stale peanuts. Her knees pressed against the tray table. She didn't cry, but her throat ached. Pulling out her phone, she typed a quick text to her dad. "They made me give up my seat." Then she shoved the phone into her pocket and stared at the seat back, the hum of the plane drowning out her thoughts. In Tacoma, Marcus Tate sat in his office, the Puget Sound glinting outside his window. His phone buzzed with Amara's message. He read it twice, his jaw tightening. "They made me give up my seat." No emojis, no explanation, just raw truth. He didn't text back. Not yet. He knew better than to stir things up while Amara was stuck on a plane. Instead, he scrolled through his contacts and called Victor Hayes, a board member at Horizon Air. They hadn't spoken since a tech conference months ago, but their bond, raising daughters in a world that often overlooked them, held strong. "Victor," Marcus said when the call connected, "I need a favor." Quietly. "What's wrong?" Victor's voice sharpened. "My daughter's on Flight 412, Portland to Newark. First class, 2A. They moved her to the back for a preferred guest. She's 13. Victor exhaled. "Jesus. I'll look into it. Personally. I'm not asking for a scene," Marcus said, his voice low. "I want to know why a kid with a paid ticket gets bumped for someone who didn't pay for it." "Got it," Victor said. "I'll call you back." On the plane, Amara sat rigid, the captain's voice crackling about turbulence. The woman in scrubs offered her a mint. "You okay?" she asked. Amara shrugged. "I guess. That was your seat up there, wasn't it?" "Yeah." "That was wrong," the woman said softly. Amara nodded, but the words didn't ease the knot in her stomach. No one else had spoken up. Not Karen, not the crew, not the woman now sitting in 2A. Amara wondered if she knew the seat wasn't hers. Did she ask for it, or just take it? The plane took off, and Amara opened her book, but the words blurred. She kept rereading the same line, her fingers tight on the pages. Back in Tacoma, Marcus waited. Victor called back within the hour. It wasn't corporate, he said. The lead flight attendant made the call, possibly with gate staff. No protocol justifies moving a minor with a confirmed ticket. "We're digging deeper." "Good," Marcus said. He didn't text Amara yet. She didn't need his worry. She needed him to fix this. By the time the plane landed in Newark, Marcus was on the phone with Claire Morgan, a compliance officer at Horizon Air. "I've seen the logs," Claire said. "Your daughter's ticket was clean. The passenger in 2A wasn't upgraded officially. It was a judgment call, likely by the lead attendant. A judgment call? Marcus's voice was calm but firm. Who gets protected and who gets moved without a word? That's what I want to know. We're reviewing it, Claire said. The gate logs, crew decisions, everything. Marcus hung up and texted Amara. You okay? She replied minutes later. Yeah, just tired. That word, tired, hit harder than anger. Marcus stared at her message, then called a friend, Jamal Carter, who ran a PR firm. I don't want a media circus, Marcus said. But this might blow up. Monitor it. At Newark, Amara's aunt, Lena, picked her up. Hey, kiddo, Lena said, pulling her into a hug. Fries before we hit the road? Amara nodded, managing a small smile. She didn't mention the flight. Not yet. But her phone buzzed with a text from a friend. Saw a post about a girl losing her first-class seat. Was that you? Her stomach twisted. By the time she checked, the post, a blurry photo of her in the aisle, tote bag in hand, had thousands of shares. The caption was simple. A young girl asked to give up her first-class seat for a white woman from Coach. No one said a word. The next morning, Claire Morgan's inbox was flooded. Internal reports, gate logs, and crew statements piled up. The lead attendant, Karen Willis, had flagged Amara's seat for a platinum flyer with no logged upgrade. The gate's supervisor, Diane Perry, had approved it. The onboard manager, Greg Holt, hadn't verified the decision. Claire called Greg. Why was a 13-year-old moved, she asked. Kayak site. Karen said it was a booking mix-up. I didn't push. She was alone, Claire said, her voice sharp. You didn't check? I didn't know, Greg admitted. In Tacoma, Marcus scrolled through his phone. A TikTok clip described a young black girl pushed out of first class. Comments raged. Why her? We're the adults. A former Horizon employee posted, This isn't new. Marcus forwarded it to Claire. Her reply was curt, We're handling it. In New Jersey, Amara sat at Lena's kitchen table, her cereal untouched. Lena glanced over. Want to talk? It's fine, Amara said, her voice barely above a whisper. I just moved when she told me to. That doesn't make it okay, Lena said. Amara stared at her bowl. Why didn't anyone say anything? Most people freeze when something feels wrong, Lena said. Doesn't mean they're right. By noon, Horizon's audit team met behind closed doors. Claire presented the findings. No upgrade logged, no justification for moving Amara. Karen's reasoning? The other passenger looked tired and deserved comfort. The room went silent. Claire closed her laptop. This isn't just a policy failure. It's a perception problem. Who do we protect? Who do we assume doesn't belong? That afternoon, a screenshot went viral. A passenger's post with Amara's photo, captioned, Nobody said a word, not even the woman who took her seat. It wasn't dramatic, just honest. That's why it spread. Hashtags followed. News outlets picked it up. Teen STEM star bumped for preferred guest. The image of Amara, standing quietly in the aisle, hit hard. She hadn't argued. She just moved, and that's what got people. Amara stayed off her phone, but her name was everywhere. Someone linked her dad's company, Verdant Tech. Someone else mentioned her speech at a youth summit. Marcus saw it all, but stayed quiet. He texted Victor, Move fast. Public trust doesn't wait. Victor called back. We're reviewing personnel. It was a training failure, a chain of command issue. No corporate approval for the move. You'll hear soon. I don't want apologies or payouts, Marcus said. I want my daughter to stop feeling small because she didn't look like they expected. 3 days later, Horizon Air posted, 3 crew members dismissed following investigation of Flight 412 incident. Breach of passenger treatment policy. Karen Willis, Diane Perry, and Greg Holt were gone. The statement was clinical, but the message was clear. Karen's social media accounts vanished. The internet roared. Some called it justice, others too little, too late. Amara heard about the firings through a friend's message. You got them fired. It didn't feel like a win. She hadn't asked for this. She just sent a text. Now she was a symbol, her photo plastered online. At Lena's, she stared at a newspaper headline. Quiet strength. Teens move sparks outcry. I don't want to be a symbol, she told Lena. You're not, Lena said. You're a kid who was wronged. People are reacting to that. That evening, Marcus wrote in his journal, You think if your kid does everything right, she'll be safe. But sometimes You have to remind the world she belongs. He closed his laptop. The next day, Amara spoke. It wasn't planned. She was at a Career Week panel at Lena's school in Teaneck, invited to share her STEM camp experience. The auditorium was half full. Students, teachers, a few parents. When her turn came, she stood, tugging her hoodie sleeve. "I'm Amara Tate," she said, her voice clear. "I'm 13. I just finished a STEM camp, but I want to talk about something else." The room stilled. "Last week, I flew here. My dad gave me a first-class ticket because he was proud of me. But right before takeoff, they asked me to move. They said someone else needed the seat more." A few teachers exchanged glances. I didn't argue. I moved. But later, I realized I gave up something I earned. And no one asked if the other person earned it. She gripped the podium. It's not just about a plane. It's about who people expect to see in certain places, and who they think is just visiting. Sometimes, even when you do everything right, you get pushed aside. You think you should stay quiet to avoid trouble. Her eyes met a kid in the front row, staring at the floor. But you don't have to yell to be heard. You don't need a microphone to matter. You just need to know your place belongs to you. The room was silent, then erupted in applause. Lena smiled from the side, tears in her eyes. Amara sat down, her hands shaking but her heart steady. That night, she sat on Lena's guest bed, her phone dark. She ignored the interview requests, the talk show pitches. What she'd said wasn't for headlines. It was for that kid in the third row, and for herself. She'd spoken, not to lead a movement, but to claim her space. Horizon Air revamped its training, emphasizing equity. The story faded from feeds, but its echo lingered. Amara returned to school, her tote bag heavier with new books. Marcus never went public, but he framed the newspaper article in his office. Amara wasn't invisible. The world knew it now. What do you think? Have you ever faced injustice or seen someone pushed aside unfairly? Share your thoughts in the comments, especially on how we confront cruelty and inequality in everyday life. Take a stand, speak your truth, and let's keep this conversation going.